Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Immortal Creed Academy. I'm Chris. I'm one of the founders of Immortal Creed. On this episode, I want to talk to you about starter cards. So, let's say you're a brand new player to the game. You just created an account, you came in and you want to play, you want to battle somebody. Um, what do you do? Well, you don't have any cards. You don't own any cards yet. That's okay. We put into the game some starter cards. And essentially, what these cards are they're cards just to get you started. Exactly what it sounds like. Uh, they're cards you can use so you can try the game out, play it, learn a little bit about the game, and get a feel for how the game works. You can see your starter cards if you click on inventory, and you'll see here these are your immortals. And starting off, you get 3 immortals. Now, these immortals are rare cards, and if you own them, they'll be rare. For starter cards, you can see that they're grayed out. They don't have the color to them. So, click on Warcaller here. He's one of the ones you get as a starter. Warcaller, level 1, gets 10% more melee damage. Wagner gets you an 8% greater chance to hit on ranged equipment. And Asazi will give you a 10% more damage to your magic equipment cards. So these are the 3 immortals you get, and their bonuses that you get when you use them in a battle. Let's go ahead and let's move over to equipment. In the equipment cards, you basically get all these cards right here to start with. Like I said, you don't own these cards, therefore, if you do have a creed mark in the game, you do not earn valor for them. But you do get to use the cards and you get to play battles and kind of develop your strategy, figure out how they work, what works good for you. Let's take a look at some of these equipment cards here. I'm going to go ahead and filter this down to melee, and you'll see that these are the melee cards that actually work a little bit better with Warcaller because he gets a little bit of damage increase. You have the Iron Axe. This is a 2-turn card. Triggers on the 4th second of the turn. You see right there the speed of 4. Does 22 damage. So, if you're using this card with Warcaller, you get a 10% bonus to his damage. That actually is going to give you an extra, so about 2 points more damage. Over a course of several rounds, that can mean a big difference in the game. Push you a little bit over the top of your opponent. Here we got Iron Sword, a 1-turn card. Does 11 damage, has a speed of 5. So I don't know if you watched the previous video. I did explain briefly a little bit about the speed. Speed on a card determines when it triggers. And on this card, the 5th second of the turn. Each turn is divided into 10 seconds. A speed of 5 is kind of about your middle range card as far as speed goes. 1 is the fastest speed, and the highest all the way up to 9 gives you the slowest speed. As a general rule, but not always entirely true, melee cards have kind of a middle of the range speed. Ranged cards get a little bit of a faster speed, and magic are your slowest. I said not entirely always true, but pretty close. You can count on melee being your middle of the road speed, range being faster, and magic being slower. Next up, we have the Iron Dagger. It's a 1-turn card with 4 speed and does 10 damage. These are all melee cards, so they work better with an immortal that has a melee ability or bonus. So keep that in mind when choosing your equipment to play with which immortal you choose. Let's move on. Let's look at the ranged here real quick. In ranged, we have the 2-turn wooden crossbow. It's a 2-turn card, and like I said, range has generally the fastest speed. This has a speed of 2. Most of the melee cards we just looked at had a speed around 5. So this is quite a bit faster. Does between 19 to 25 points of damage. Another thing about range cards is a lot of the range cards have like they sound, ranged. They do a range of damage. There's a little bit of RNG going into play here. You could do 19 points of damage, but you could do 25. That's kind of your incentive to using ranged, is that you can get a little bit more damage out of those ranged cards than you would a melee card. Most melee cards kind of have a static damage. It's pretty much set. Just have a point set. It's going to be this much damage every time it hits. Where range cards actually have a little bit of range, in what they can do as far as damage goes. The other one we have here is the Wooden Bow. Wooden Bow is a 1-turn card, 2 speed, 9 to 11 points of damage. You can also use that range of damage again. Let's go and let's look at our magic cards that we have. For magic cards, we have the 2-turn Bronze Staff. Now, see, speed of 6, higher than the range cards and higher than the melee cards. So this card actually triggers a little bit slower than those other two damage types. But it also gets 18 points of damage. 2-turn card does a little bit more damage. One thing to note about magic, that it does not miss. Where melee and range both have the opportunity to miss your opponent, there's a chance that you can miss and you will not get an attack that turn. With magic, always hits. You don't have to worry about the RNG factor of that attack actually missing your opponent. Go back, let's look at the Refined Wand, 1-turn card, 6 speed, 8 magic damage. So, like I said, with magic, you don't miss. Guaranteed to get that 8 points of damage in. As in with melee cards or range cards, you do have a chance to miss. Lastly, we're going to look at our supporting cards here. We have the Wooden Shield, which is a 1-turn card. Has a speed of 3, so it's pretty fast. You can kind of block a lot of melee cards with this one. And you can see right here, it'll actually block 9 points of damage. Now that's physical damage. Something to be aware of is physical damage, which is melee and ranged. A shield will block all the 9 points of physical damage from melee or ranged if the shield triggers before the other equipment card triggers. So now if this were against magic, now magic has another bonus to it, that a shield can only block half of magic damage. So does it matter if this shield blocks 9 points of damage? If we were to go back like we saw with the Refined Wand does 8 points of damage, that shield can only block half of that damage. Even though it says 9, because it's magic, it's only going to block half. Something to remember when you're using shields and you're going against magic. Magic only blocks half the damage up to its maximum, whereas in physical attacks, ranged and melee, this will block all the way up to 9 points of damage from physical attacks. Let's look at our Steel Gloves. This is primarily a melee weapon or equipment card, supporting card. Steel Gloves will increase your melee damage by 10%, and it stacks with each use. Now, it has a speed of 9, so it's going to be the last card to trigger each turn. But when it does trigger, you're going to get 10% more melee damage. And every round that goes by this card is played, you're going to add 10% more to your melee damage. Let's go look at the Arcane Tome. As you see, speed of 9, last card to trigger on each turn, and also increases your magic damage by 10%, and it also stacks with each use. Same as the gloves. Every time you play this card, it's going to increase your magic damage by 10%. Every round this card gets played, it's going to be another 10% added to your magic damage. And then the True Shot Ring, as you can probably guess, this one's for ranged attacks. True Shot Ring increases your chance to hit. Not the same as increasing your actual damage. The True Shot Ring will actually give you a better chance to hit so that you don't miss with ranged attacks. Each time you play this card, it's going to go up by 8%, and it stacks with each use. So, after a few rounds of playing this card, you can get your actual to hit chance all the way to 100% with this card, assuming you're not taking any debuffs from your opponent. Where in that case, all of your shots, every attack you have with the range card will hit every time. All right, there's our supporting cards here. Let's go ahead and click that off and you see all of them. So these are the starter cards you get when you first start playing the game. What this does is it allows you to come in, play the game a little bit, get familiar with how the game works. I tell you what, let's actually just go and play one quick battle real quick and play with some of these starter cards. Looking for an opponent really quick. Probably going to get an NPC unless there's somebody on here. You're going to start off in novice. You can see I have the novice right there. I'm going to get the mountaintop, which only lasts 4 rounds. When we first started playing, we've used Asazi magic. Let's let's not use that. Let's go ahead and let's do Wagner here. See if we can pull this off in 4 rounds. So I chose a ranged Immortal. He gets a bonus to hit. So in that case, I'm going to come back and I'm going to primarily play ranged cards. I can see my opponent here is going to be playing Dakusetu, who basically gets a reduction to poison damage. I'm not going to use any poison, so that doesn't really matter. He does have a little bit more health than I do starting off. He's going to be playing melee, which means he's going to get a chance to miss. He's also increasing his damage. So what I'm going to try to play into, hopefully this works out in my favor, I'm going to try to play into ranged and increase my hit. Will it matter in only 4 rounds? Maybe. I probably can get my hit chance up to 100%. Not sure if it's going to help, but we're going to show this just for sake of showing how it works. I've got 4 card turn slots up here. So the first thing I'm going to do is play this 1 turn true shot, increase my range to hit, come back with this 2 turn wooden crossbow, and then follow up with the wooden bow. I'm ready to go. And let's walk through this real quick. The purpose of this battle is just to show the ranged to hit and how it increases. And probably we'll get a miss or 2 in here, and I'll be able to show you from one side or the other. Okay, he's fired off. He's got an 80% chance to hit. He hit with the first one, hit with the second one. Now, I've already increased my hit chance all the way up to, where am I sitting at? 86 there. All right, now he's increasing his damage. You'll see his damage modifier go up here. And so far he hasn't missed me, which is not good, which means, there we go. There's a miss. Now, I'm all the way up. My 2 hit chance is 100%. I'm not going to miss anymore. Will that get me the win? I'm not sure. Really quick, I want to pause here for a second. And I want to show that as my ring was being played and my to hit chance went up, once it reaches 100%, the extra 2 hit I get each time that's played is going to be added to my damage. So now that I'm at 100% 2 hit, I'm also getting a damage increase from that ring, and that and further matches down the road, higher ranks, can be huge. I've had matches where I've gotten my damage way up with 100% hit chance. It's great, really debilitating to an opponent, especially if they still have like an 80% or lower hit chance. So keep in mind, with that range to hit chance, once that hit chance gets up above 100%, any bonus you get at that point adds to your damage. Let's go ahead and see if we can pull the rest of this off. There's another miss. There's my true shot ring coming in again. You'll see I'm up to 12% damage increase. And another miss by him. This is looking good for us. We might actually pull this one off. Whoa, it's going to be kind of close maybe. Nope, there's a miss right there. I think we're going to go ahead and pull this one off because we don't have a chance to miss. And another miss. Wow, there's a lot of misses in that match. All right, here we go. 100% chance to hit. We're going to hit, and we're going to take the battle. We're victorious. So there we go. Just wanted to show how the cards work real quick, these starter cards. When you're playing the game at these lower levels, what Immortal you choose can really, really make a difference in the outcome of the battle. Pay attention to what immortal you choose, and then pay attention to what cards you play. Try to synergize these cards with the immortal. If you're, playing Warcaller, go for that extra damage. Stick to the melee cards, get that bonus from the damage. If you're going with Wagner, try to lean into range cards a little bit. You're going to get that extra to hit chance. And that last battle you saw, the hit chance was huge with all the misses the other guy had. With me hitting 100% of the time, I pretty easily took that battle. And of course, if you're playing Magic, lean into some of your Magic cards. It's good strategy, lower levels. Make sure that whatever immortal you're using, that you're trying to use a strategy and pick cards that are going to work with that immortal to help you get the win. All right, thanks for watching. This is Immortal Creed Academy, and I'm Chris. I wanted to keep this one short and sweet, just focus on starter cards, show you guys what they were and how to use them a little bit in the game. Stay tuned for more. We'll be bringing more Immortal Creed Academy videos, deep dive a little bit into each thing of the game, more about the actual cards that you can see here in the library. I'd like to come in and do a good deep dive on each one of the immortals and the equipment, all the cards, what their abilities are. But for now, this episode, that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.